I would define wellness as a consideration of self, right? Which is a checking in of self and thinking about being uh, an artist, a theater maker, a playwright. We are often checking in with ourselves in a way to expose ourselves, right? And what happens in that exposure of self when things become a bit prickly, when things become uncomfortable. And that's there's a beauty in that, right? And we also need to have discernment of when things become uncomfortable to a degree that I need to step away for a moment because I actually need to consider myself in this moment, where I need to be softer with myself in this moment. And softness is a vulnerability, right? Softness is offering yourself grace. And in terms of being vulnerable, it means I'm able to say, this is how I feel right now. This is what's going on with me. And offering yourself grace is saying, and that is okay. Playwrights need to center their wellness because we are often exposing ourselves through our art. We are turning ourselves inside out and saying, hey, this is me. And there's so much beauty in that. And there's also pain in that as well because you don't know how it will be received. You don't know what people will say. And in order to quiet that as much as possible, wellness is a part of that process. And wellness is the consideration of self. Wellness is offering yourself softness, that vulnerability, that grace, so that when you do get to this point, you're able to say, okay, I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to think about me right now, and I'm going to quiet out the noise of everybody and everything else. Advocacy is standing up for yourself. Advocacy is being able to know that you matter, right? The very truth of you matters. And I am going to stand up for that. I'm going to stand up for me. I'm going to hold space for me. So, as a playwright, advocacy is standing up for not only yourself, but for your work as well, for what it is that you're trying to say. And I think about experiences that I've had as a playwright and working and collaborating with others. My work is holding space for Black people living with HIV. And you often don't see those stories. And so when I'm in collaboration with artists, when I'm in collaboration with institutions, I am letting people know that these stories matter because these people matter. And I remember in particular, one moment I really advocated for a play of mine that had a production within the playbill to have organizations that cater to Black people living with HIV so that everyone who comes to see the show has this reference of organizations that are centering, that are holding space for people living with HIV, specifically Black people living with HIV, right? And so that's a subtle way, but also a necessary way of being able to advocate for yourself and for the work that you're creating as well. To be able to exist in a space now where wellness, where self care, where therapy is so discussed is beautiful because that wasn't always the case. And uh, with things becoming very popular and accepted, there also can be a counter to that, right? Where things can then become negative or things can become toxic, right? If in your journey of wellness, you are only thinking about yourself the entire time, there is no consideration for other people as well because we are all navigating life, right? We are all trying to be the better versions of ourselves. And so, what happens when you're only thinking about yourself in the process? That's when it can become toxic, when you aren't seeing other people. And when I think about that through the lens of being an artist, specifically as a playwright, it can become toxic if I am not listening to my collaborators, if I am not giving them a chance to bring themselves into the story as well, where it's no, we can't do that because this is how it should be. There are so many other individuals that can offer you so much softness, that can offer you so much consideration and wellness if you give folks a chance. And I think that is a way of counteracting the toxicity that can exist within wellness culture, which is being able to listen, being able to hold space with other people, and not always centering yourself in the process. Two things come to mind in terms of strategies and tools to like implement wellness. And one is having a support system, having people around you who believe in you and who are deeply invested in your well being. Because at any stage of the journey of being a writer, it can be lonely and it can feel as if what you are saying may not matter, right? Having a support system can help you navigate through a possible blow, a possible low moment. And what I will also say, and this is something that I practice, or I try to practice as much as possible. I think about Dr. Maya Angelou, and there is a quote that she has, and that quote is, "We should all have a place inside of us that we do not allow anyone into but us." And we should keep this place, we should keep this space inside of us so pristine. We should keep it so open for us and only us, because this is the space inside of us where we can go to and we can have a conversation with the divine. And so, whenever there is a moment where we are unsure, wherever there is a moment in which we may feel unwell, we can go to that space in us and access whatever it is that we need to help us through a difficult moment. And as a writer, there will be, as an artist, there will be many difficult moments. And you're going to question a lot because you're going to be getting thoughts and feedback and notes from everybody, every which way around the sun. And when you have that space within yourself to say, I hear the note, let me go into myself right now to see if this is actually what I need to lean into. And also to see if I'm experiencing ego right now because I may not want to listen to the note. And so that space can work in a multitude of ways, as a humbling space and as an affirming and assuring space as well. And that is something that I practice often, going into the space to know what to do, to know how to show up, and to make sure there is no ego, and to make sure there is collaboration, and to make sure there is a wellness of myself as well.